All right, we're live.
Okay, so welcome to episode 3 of the It's Yabai podcast. Today we are starting off with, first of all, of course, your host, Julio, myself, and
And me, John.
okay, beautiful. So today we are going to start off with a little bit of a One Piece tier list because John and I were having a conversation related to the saddest One Piece backstories, right? So we're gonna do the Straw Hats and a little bit of a caveat. We're gonna also do like maybe Law and Odin since they had very exceptional stories outside of the Straw Hats. Even though at this point we do believe Law should be considered a Straw Hat. Let's be honest, he's done enough. All right, he's been around long enough, but
His
it is what
crew
it is.
is on the verge of just being like ridden away for no reason because he barely has anybody there. What does he got? He got Beppo, and that's it.
Up until recently, I actually didn't even know what the rest of his crew did. I'm not even joking. Like, up until recently, I actually believed it was him, Beppo, and just straight up lackeys. Like, I didn't know these guys were
That's
were
it.
some of them. Yeah, yeah. Look at them. Oh yeah, there's that one giant guy as well. I remember him from wasn't he also in
He was
Sabodia
in.
Archipelago?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember that. But yeah, they're
but
just doctors. They're just Then there's
right,
one dude
but
who's just racist as hell wearing a panda mask, which is I don't know.
oh wow, a panda, a panda mask. I was very disappointed in Beppo that he did not go too long in Wano. I felt like that was just ridiculous.
Mm.
Because think about all the stakes in Wano, right? There wouldn't have been a better time to go too long, right? I mean, think about it. When is Beppo gonna get another opportunity against the Blackbeard Pirates? He's gonna get completely laid out at this point in time.
Yeah, and isn't it just like a once a month thing?
Yeah, because it has to be with the moon and stuff, no?
Mid Beppo, mid Lost
I
Crew.
mean, Beppo's always been mid. He's just kind of there for comedic relief, just as he was in Film Red. So
The Heart Pirates were cool for a second.
it's just Law. He carries them. But anyways, let's get this started. So who do you want to start off with? Let's start with Frankie since he's right there at the very beginning, right?
So
Uh,
Frankie, like, refresh me on his backstory. Give me a refresher course on his backstory, because as far as I'm aware, it's non-existent for the most part. Like, it
I mean,
exists, but it's really like
let's
whatever.
let's actually read through some of it. Get a refresher. Bring out the page because Frankie's backstory is actually quite forgettable by comparison to the other Straw Hats. Like I remember very vividly. I remember Brooks' backstory because it's extremely sad. I
Yeah.
also remember Robin's. You know what I'm saying with Jaguar Di Sol. But with Frankie's backstory in general, I mean, first of all, they need to
Let's
fix up
see.
this Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I'm
But
trying to find like something that's a little bit easier to digest here.
just
Okay.
look up his backstory. Just look up his backstory, Frankie backstory, right? But with Frankie, I just feel that his backstory was actually pretty sad from what I remember, but I always found it more interesting when they kind of gave us snippets of like him actually meeting Roger. Remember when we got the Odin flashback? I mean, that's a different flashback,
Hmm.
but it actually showed Roger and his crew meeting Frankie, which is hilarious because Roger wanted him in his crew. Imagine Frankie as a part of Roger's crew. That would have been absolutely
That
hilarious.
would have been really funny. Roger would have kicked him out easy immediately. The second this dude's going, oh, super! I would
There's
be like,
no
I'm not with that shit.
there's no chance he would have kicked him out because think about this. He had Buggy up in that bitch.
Yeah,
What
but
was
those,
Buggy doing?
I mean, Buggy's a top tier. He's a
All right, Buggy the Clown. All right, here we go.
Buggy, D Clown, Buggy. It's his anime. It's his anime. Come on.
Buggy the Clown be bugging is what he be doing. All right, get out of here.
You just wait. You just wait. He's got his plans. He already brokered a peace between Crocodile and Mihawk. So right now he's got
He
some stuff signed.
brokered.
Yeah, he brokered a
He
peace.
brokered a piece.
Yeah,
That's what,
he created a
dude.
union between them. If you saw the
All right,
post, if you saw the
so
poster,
right, so there's the One Piece manga, right, and then there's the One Piece manga you're reading, which comes straight out of fucking what do you call the bird? Morgan, straight out of Morgan's
fake
fucking
news Morgan. No, dude,
yeah,
that's
straight
look,
out of
dude.
fake news Morgans, dude.
Buggy brokers peace.
Stop it! Don't I don't want to look at this right now.
Lol.
What the hell is that? But look,
One Piece.
man,
Yeah.
he didn't broker a piece. They literally happened to rolled up on him because they wanted to mess him up because he was talking all that crazy nonsense, right? So both. Mihawk and Crocodile rolled up, which I'm just happy to see Crocodile again because it has been quite a while. But
See right
they
here,
just
he set that all up. Cross guild.
it's
He did that.
it was actually so funny because when they looked at the poster, it's like, why do you look like you're the leader? They were like, dude, what is going on?
He's the leader. You see Buggy, Cross
Yeah.
Guild,
Oh yeah.
Sir Crocodile,
Yeah, no. According
Dracula
to
Mihawk.
fake news Morgans, yeah, Buggy's just like the next level. The fact that Buggy's a Yonko now is absolutely hilarious.
Hey man, he did that. I'm gonna tell you, bro. He did that.
Does it being a Yonko doesn't mean
Whoop.
anything. Oh, whoa, what happened there? What
Whoa,
was that? I
whoa,
didn't
shit, my bad.
see.
One of those fan animations,
What?
anyway, is crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Okay.
so
All right.
Frankie,
All right.
originally from South Blue, Frankie
Right.
was abandoned by his family as a 4-year-old, eventually making his way to Water 7.
Mm-hmm.
There, he came to be a member of Tom's Workers
Yes.
until an incident resulted in his body being heavily damaged and requiring him to augment himself into a cyborg. Upon
Okay.
returning to Water 7, he became the leader of the Frankie family, a group of ship dismantlers and bounty hunters.
Right.
And, it goes on to Frankie and his followers were originally enemies of the Straw Hats and, all that.
Right. His backstory was fairly bare bones. I remember in the anime, but the thing about the anime is I don't remember when I was watching his backstory if what I watched was semi filler or not, because they tend to do that a lot where they kind of add snippets every once in a while into like the real story and they incorporate some filler. So, but I remember when I watched it, it was pretty sad. They ended up killing one of his friends or whatever. I remember they tried to execute him or
I
something
don't
similar.
remember any of that. I'm
The
real with
filler
you, but
that
it's also been a minute since I've seen Frank like that part of the anime.
yeah, I mean Frankie was so much cooler pre time skip. Like he was just so much cooler, right? He would actually box with you. He had amazing durability feats in general, and it's not even about that. He's just a cooler character overall. Yeah, he had that goofy side about him, but at first, like kind of when Frankie's kind of introduced, and as things go on, super serious all the time. You know what I mean? All about the business. It was just actually a breath of fresh air. It was like, yeah, he's a cyborg. Yes, he does have some panties on, but he's also just, he's different,
He's
right?
about that action.
He's about that action. And then
He's
post time skip,
super hard boiled.
yeah, post time skip is absolutely ridiculous. It's just super 24/7, super, super, super. And it's just it gets extremely annoying. He does have some cool stuff though. I like his he has this motorcycle. Remember the motorcycle he ran over Big Mom's face
Oh
with
yeah, I like the
and
motorcycle
Wano?
too.
That was hilarious. I love that. I don't know. I just, when I did like Frankie when he had that battle with Senor Pink. I felt like his battle with Senor Pink was really cool. I felt like it kind of brought me back to that pre-time skip Frankie, right? That hustler, that fighter, But
You
oh,
know
dude,
what, bro? You know what we completely forgot to do for this right here?
yeah.
We should have put Senior Pink here. This is
Senor Pink's backstory. Oh no, Senor. That show was crazy.
we
I
should
like this.
Senor Pink.
Senor Pink tier. I like it. Yeah, let's give him let's honor him that way. So
Yeah.
Frankie's backstory. I mean, I'm willing to put him in B better straight up because it's just comparatively to the rest of the Straw Hats, it seems kind of bare bones. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Like if
It's
you told me it's like 4-year-old doesn't have parents, this that and the third, he's abandoned at that age. It's like a headline in real life type B, and then like he has an accident now he has to become a cyborg. That's pretty tragic in real life. In the world of One Piece, that's like
that's like an
every other
average
day.
Tuesday.
Exactly, right? It's not even that serious. Everybody's like, so what,
Yeah, compared to
So,
all the people on this list, bro.
well, not all of them, because the guy that comes right next to him actually goes a tier below, in my personal opinion. Roronoa Zoro. Right? Your boy has to go in Baka tier. There's no way you're gonna put him anything above anywhere above that, right? There's literally no way. His backstory is so bare bones. The whole thing with his rivalry with the girl and then her dying supposedly, which is like, did she though? Right? And it's just like, who cares, right? I didn't feel anything while watching it. In fact, when I first saw Tashigi, I was like, oh yo, Tashigi's that girl in Zoro's backstory, because they literally look exactly the same.
Uh huh.
Their progression, literally, like if you look at their character development from like when she was a girl to like Tashigi now, it's like, oh yeah, that seems like the exact same character, but I suppose not. But
I'll say this. Zoro's character really just felt like a blank canvas. Like yeah, he's a swordsman and he, needs to be a swordsman and that's it.
yeah, his character development is, because think about what Zoro stood for from the beginning. He's all about loyalty, right? He's all about
Mhm.
loyalty and just basically helping Luffy achieve his dream and also achieving his own, right? But he's been like that since the beginning. Zoro's never had like an Usopp moment, right?
Nah.
Where it's like he's never had that. In fact, when Usopp had his moment, he was like, "Bro, if you don't handle Usopp, I'ma handle him."
The
Right?
craziest moment that was like redefining for him was when he lost to Mihawk, and that's when
Right.
he was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna lose again."
Right. Which he took some L's with that eye, but let's not even, it is what it is.
Hey, hey,
Be a liar, and that's okay.
relax, relax. He said he'd never lose. We don't know
You
if
know,
he lost.
I appreciate his confidence after getting shanked by like a literal toothpick to be saying all that. Like he has that scar from when Mihawk slashed him, and he probably goes around showing that off. He's like, yeah, I got that. But it's like,
No,
let's
he
not
one
pretend.
hundred percent. He 100% doesn't want to.
Yeah, but let's not. I mean, doesn't he? Because he's always shirtless.
I mean, my guy's always doing his max level moves. He can't be having anything, creating friction for him. So what's the point? Like you want to say that, but at the end of the day, he's all about the business. And
He is all about the business. I will say that. And you know what? I'll say he had a drip power up post time skip. I think he looks a lot better post time skip. I like the whole little cloak stuff he has going on in general compared to like the pre time skip stuff. Like I like that. I like his look better there. He has like I love that he has a little bandana too, like the little like that's just lit.
I like his look a lot more too. What I don't like is how frequently he's put in situations where he's just lost. I'm just losing myself. Like this guy wasn't dumb either back in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
day.
Yeah, I feel like Oda is doubling down on the meme, right? On the Zoro's always lost meme, but it's becoming so extreme. I believe there was a cover page where they showed him getting lost in like an island that was like 3 feet, right? He was like leading a troop of um of kids, whatever. I guess they were just doing some Boy Scout type stuff or whatever, and then like they kind of skip to him being like in an island, I think by himself, where he
Mm.
was just like 3 feet and there's nothing around. It's just water. And you're like, Zoro, how the, it's becoming a huge meme, right? And at first I'm like, okay, great, it's a meme. But then later on, I'm kind of like, can we, can we at least have him like not get lost so extremely? Because it becomes so extreme at some points where it's like, dude, this homie might end up getting lost and end up in Raftel, bro. Straight up. Like he might end up finding the One Piece before the story's over. This guy's out of his mind.
I mean, we know where he really went. Realistically, we know where he goes when he's lost.
Yeah.
This is where he does. This is what he's doing.
Oh yeah, he's in Bleach. He's in Bleach. He's having like 8 Bankais, bro. Straight
Yeah,
up.
no, he's releasing his Bankai. He's going into the other animes. That's what happened to his eye, realistically. You see, he went over to Naruto. He awakened his
Yeah.
Sharingan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Comes over to Bleach. He's fighting my boy Jagar Jack, right? They're
Yeah.
going crazy.
True.
They're going crazy and stupid. Zoro doesn't have a Bankai at this point. Zoro's just, doing his thing.
Right. Underwater.
Eventually, he's pulling out the hockey and all that, but then Jigger Jock just cuts his eye a
Oh,
bit, and then
okay.
that's when he goes and he gets his Bankai.
Okay. Okay. He gets his Bankai. What's Zoro's Bankai looking like?
17,000 sword style.
Yeah, but you can't steal that. You can't steal that from Byakuya.
No. It looks
You
more
can't
like it
steal
looks
that.
more like this. He grows arms.
Oh, so he gets like the Ashura power up
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, yeah. No, not like Byakuya. Not like Byakuya. More like this.
But like I mean, yeah, but that's kind of lame for a Bankai, right? He doesn't.
It's because
That should
that's
be.
the first.
That
That's
should
the
be.
first mode of his Bankai.
Nah, that should be a Shikai. That should be a
That
Shikai.
should
That
be a
has
Shikai.
Shikai rating all over. Yeah, because think about it, right? Like the swords don't change. With the Bankai happens, usually your sword changes somewhat, right? Like, or
Hmm.
actually pretty extremely. So I could see his Bankai being like some. I don't even know, bro. Like, honestly, because he's such an overpowering character, usually like the Bankai in general, with the exception of maybe Ikaku. Okay, well that is
That's
an
a
image.
pretty good Bankai right there. I don't know, man.
That is an image right there. I am not sure if that is a proper Bankai to be having. That is crazy.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Okay.
He
Anyways,
Bankai switches his hair color, changes up the whole game, dog.
no, yeah, straight out Dragon Ball, but why not?
Hmm.
But I feel like his Bankai would be just. It would have to be some pretty basic, like almost like a Kenpachi type Bankai, right? Where it's just a power up to your stats, not really like maybe he himself looks different, right? Like an empowering one. Like think about like the empowering type bankais that aren't really like hacks based. They're mostly just kind of like they're kind of just empowering your already broken physical stats. Think like Kensei, right? One of the wizards, which looked
Mhm.
really cool, but he got, I mean, super underwhelming overall. But Kensei, think Kenpachi, think who am I forgetting right now? What's another like really like kind of that type? Even Ichigo when he has the hollow mask
Oh yeah.
initially, remember? That
Well,
was
no.
just speed
Also,
blitzing.
yeah, because he's just getting faster there. So yeah, it's just more of like a power up type thing.
Ichigo in general, his bankais in general, even his true Shika and stuff like that are kind of like that. He doesn't really, I mean, Ichigo only knows one move, Getsuga Tensho, but that's besides the point.
Hey, he
But
learned another one. Getsuga,
but
whatever the hell.
yeah, but that's basically what Zoro's Bankai would have to be, where he just looks cooler and he just gets like an increase to his stats, and he's able to do like kind of like those long range slashes that he's already able to do, but like even more overpowered or whatever. That's why I imagine. But anyways, enough of his Zoro's Bankai, right? Let's go
Zoro's
back to like
escapades. I mean, realistically, like I'm saying, I feel like Zoro as a character, he's just better for like the story now. Him before was like whatever, but now he's like he has his moments like with the arc where he just took the pain right after filler bark. He just takes the pain, does that, has this cool moment, stuff like that. That's what he's good for.
he's basically fan service for anime fans that just want to see badass stuff happening all the time, right? Like it's like you have certain aspects of the One Piece story, and Zoro appears, and you can just expect badassery at all times, right? Or
Mhm.
maybe some comedic relief if it's just insane lack of awareness of where he is. Right? But in
Maybe
terms
that's
of
part of his Bankai.
backstory,
He goes and he
right?
like gives you that horrible sense of direction. You just don't know where you're at.
Oh, okay. He has some crazy hacks then. But anyway, he's definitely in Baka tier, right? Like he's not going up there. Like the homie's backstory is the worst, but don't get him out of in your pick.
Hey
Stop it.
man, hey man, hey
Your
man.
Zoro bias is showing. Get that out of
It's
my
not a
face.
Zoro bias. It's the
You have a
minority
hard,
hunter, dude.
yeah. You have a hardcore Zoro bias. All right, like listen, bro. He's my second favorite Straw Hat, but let's stop. All right, Laurel. Anyways,
Wow.
so Robin, Rob.
Robin's backstory is actually pretty. She's pretty. She's got a pretty sad backstory. No lie.
Well, in her backstory, I feel it's really sad because of what it entails in terms of the world building. But her backstory is interesting in the sense that it's like it's not just sad because of her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like her backstory isn't just sad because of her. It's sad because of what it entails. Like I mean, think about like what O'Hara meant. Like you're talking about basically all of these accounts of the entire history up until the Void Century and all this other stuff that happened in the One Piece world, just getting quote unquote. Well, we know it's different in the manga now, right? We know like
Hmm.
how that went down, right? But at the point in time when we see her backstory and then you see Jaguar D Sol, how he tried to protect her, and like well, the thing is, if we look at her backstory, we might have to take some sadness points away just because we know the reality of it now. Like, I'm pretty sure in the manga they revealed that Jaguar Disal might be alive or he is.
Yeah, but it's still like it's where she was at. Like let's look at it more in a vacuum, like where it wasn't, because we don't know what's up with that guy right now.
Right, but it's not even the tragedy of O'Hara. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Like, it was, I mean, everybody in the island basically died. Horrific, awful, right? But at the same time, the tragedy itself, like what was lost, right,
Hmm.
wasn't really lost though. At least not entirely, right? Because it's like
As far as we
what
know, yeah.
where they hid it and stuff. They talked about like the pages, right? And like when Vegapunk got there, remember?
Hmm.
And he met with Dragon and stuff. So I don't know. I, it's sad. It's pretty sad. It's one of the sadder ones. But do we want to put her? It's definitely above Nami's. I know that for sure. But do we want to put her like? It's definitely not saying you're pink sad though. It's not saying you're pink status, dog. I'm sorry.
How old was she? Let's see. How old
She
was
was like
she when this was
she was
going on?
young.
Yeah, I know she was young. I know she was young enough to like, old enough to like run around and stuff, but young enough to like not be able to do much there. Still, she
Okay.
lost like everybody except maybe the giant guy. You know.
No, yeah, it was awful. But I mean, it's 100% over Frankie because Frankie, like, realistically, like, his story is pretty bare bones. Zoro's is non-existent, and hers is pretty sad overall. So I would say it's pretty high up there, but I wouldn't put it on I. I feel like it's above that. So I'd put it like at the bottom portion of Who's Cutting Onions.
Who's cutting onions out here? Yeah, because she
Yeah,
also had that moment with her mom where she couldn't catch her mom.
right. Usopp, His dad left him.
Who?
Like his dad. Oh, my bad. That's not
No,
Usopp.
you
Oh,
you
my
might be confused. Like if you
bad.
want to talk about Usopp,
I
we talk about
apologize.
Usopp, but like you know.
I apologize. Soga King,
Now
right?
let me lead this right. So Soga King, it's a little bit difficult to talk about Soga King's background, since we don't really know his real identity at the moment. But we can talk about what he's done and what it seems like his character's gone through. It seems like his character's just really strongly against the Navy. So if we theory craft a little bit, ever since that what happened there when they were getting the Robin retrieval arc, it seems like he has some strong ties where the Navy might have done something. He might have received a buster call on his island, right?
Oh
Something
yeah.
like that. Something crazy.
Yeah, right. So no, this is great. You keep telling me about this short story, this fanfic you're writing about
It's not a
Soga King.
fanfic that I'm writing. It's actually really hard. If you watch, the One Piece, if you read it like a human being, you would
Oh, okay.
actually like see what's going on in the story and how Soga King is actually at the top when it comes to saddest backstories.
Right.
He's actually just MIA at the moment.
So you're gonna have to create a separate tier that's just it's named undisclosed, right? Because his story is so graphic and so absolutely depressing that it's just undisclosed tier, right? Like it's just like it cannot be revealed to the public. Maybe at the end they might reveal it, but that has to be its own saga, right? Like the Soga King story is it's very rich, right? It's an epic, right? So we're not gonna get to it in the One Piece story or as Pat on time. You feel me? But
Maybe we see him at the end. Maybe he's the one that takes the One Piece in the end.
as a
Realistically,
cameo, as a cameo. But everybody, I mean, One Piece is making crazy money, but realistically, the money's we know where the money's at. It's in the
exactly.
Soga King story,
The
right?
Soga
Like,
King
come on.
story, 100%.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So we're just gonna put him in his own tier, right? Undisclosed, undisclosed. So now, Usopp, his dad left him. All right, so we put him at be better,
Wow,
be better, we be better.
wow,
Your dad left.
above
Yeah.
Zoro.
Yes. What?
Usopp's dad
Listen,
is chilling. Like for the most part, everything in
his mom
Usopp's life is chilling.
wasn't it? What is it? His mom mad sick though.
I mean, yeah, but like, guess what? That doesn't have to do with anything that Usopp did. I mean,
Listen, I feel like if we look at Usopp's backstory and we put it right next to Zoro, I feel more for Usopp than I do Zoro. Here's why,
you
right?
say that because you're a Zoro hunter and you don't like you're a Zoro hater and you don't like the minority hunter.
Now, that's not true whatsoever, but that's besides the point. The thing about Usopp's story, why it kind of hit me a little bit harder, is how helpless Usopp is as a character throughout this series because his whole thing is trying to become a brave warrior of the sea, right? And just seeing how helpless he was when Yasop left and his mom's all sick, and he has to deal with Captain Kudo and all these fucking thugs and shit, right? It kind of puts into perspective. It's like, damn, this guy's like extremely helpless, and he's a coward. He has a lot of different issues. With Zoro, it's like you have that confidence about you that when the girl dies and he's crying, this and the third, I don't really feel like that's a really sad moment because he uses it as fuel to become the greatest swordsman, right? Like her death is fuel as opposed to like Usopp's situation where he just feels hopeless the whole time. So yes, I would definitely put Usopp above Zoro. I would put him in Be Better.
I'll give it to you this time, but when we get that DLC of Zoro's backstory, we
The
get that deal.
DLC. Listen, if you actually, because that's the thing, there's that could definitely happen. Think about what happened with Sanji, right? We had his own backstory, and then later on, it's revealed that oh no, there's a deeper one, right? So with Zoro,
Yeah, already Sanji's backstory was actually pretty crazy, but they went even
yeah,
deeper.
yeah, that went even deeper. So with Zoro's backstory, I'm hoping that's the case because so far it's extremely shallow by far. I don't
Actually,
want to put, yeah,
they also have like something that they need to talk about where like in Wano, remember like after he defeated King?
King,
Yeah, after he
yeah.
defeated King, they had like that whole like demon devilish thing looking at him, and he was just kind of there. Then like had one panel where he was like, "I'm gonna die," and then he looks at the devil basically, and then next panel, we're chilling. Don't worry about it.
Right. Do you think that has to do with the sword itself,
I think
or
that'll have to do with the sword, and then like something to do with him because he's also like, it's kind of fits his theme. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it's gonna be kind of the sword, kind of like lashing out against its new master. It's like, hey, you can't control me, and it's gonna end up being to where like Zoro's like, yeah, you think you're a demon, but check this one out though.
You think you're a
You
demon, but
feel
it
me?
ain't sweet.
Yeah, some badass Zoro shit. You know, he's always on that. He's always
You
on
know,
that
because
note.
he's just the best on the crew right now, second best at the moment. You know, according to his bounty.
You know what? I'm not even gonna have a conversation with you right now. So let's move on to an actual backstory that's worth the damn. Sanji's. I mean, let's talk about both of them, right? So we have Sanji and we have Osoba Masku. So let's just split regular Sanji into the Zev's backstory, and then Soba Mask. Let's split that into his upbringing as a cyborg, basically. But anyways, or an android or whatever. What do we even classify him as? He's like kind of like a Lunarian DNA cyborg mix. What is he?
Did we hard convert? Because like I know we know as the fans he's a Lunarian, but did they mention it?
I don't know. We look up if they actually mentioned it in the manga. I know a lot of people have been theorizing, but I'm not sure if they actually mentioned it verbatim. I don't recall.
Is Sanji human anymore? Can Sanji be? Yeah, it's still a theory. They didn't
Right,
directly
but
hard mentioned it.
it makes sense though, because they was just gene
Y-
splicing the hell out of this homie, bro. Like straight up.
That
But
and they just like hard said that like as soon as King is losing his fight and all that, they're like, oh, actually, King's a Lunarian. They start doing fire stuff, and Sanji's in the middle of kicking using fire shit. It's like,
yeah, he laid out Queen with the quickness. That was not close. That was actually crazy. How that was shocking how laid out doing
Zoro
that.
could have did
But
it faster, but yeah, go on.
absolutely not.
Hmm?
No.
What?
No. Look at
What?
what Queen was tanking. Queen was tanking Big Mom hits. She was tanking Luffy hits. Like, get
Do
the
we
fuck out
really
of here
need
with
to
that.
look it up? Do we really need to look it up? Listen, realistically, Zoro was cutting
Yo,
islands by accident.
Zoro was struggling with King. Even though, of course, King was stronger than Queen. That's obvious.
We know why Zoro was struggling with King, and until King took his mask off, you know what I'm
Yo, you know
saying?
what? You know what? That hard confirms it. This guy right here is just a weirdo. Okay, like this dude Zoro is like literally he got a huge power boost the moment King. Because you remember King was doing that weird shit where he was like stretching out his mask and he was like
Yeah, he was
kind of
doing that
almost like
pterodactyl type thing.
and then he took the mask off, and Zoro was like, "Oh, you're one of them." He just started talking. He started spitting.
Honestly, a damn shame. A damn shame.
You know,
Zoro,
it's
Zoro
kind of
100%
crazy.
takes out Queen, but yeah, go on.
No, obviously, bro. Wait, I'm not
Easy a
arguing that
little bit,
Zoro
easy a little bit faster than Sanji, because Sanji's
faster.
like
I
fifth
feel like
strongest
that.
on the team
I
with his
feel like
chopper.
if there was gonna be a difference, it'd be like a 0.2 second difference, like on either side. The problem is that
He's the star.
oh, here we go again.
Here
Here we
comes the
go with the
star.
star. Here comes the star, dude. All right, But right. So Sanji's story, the Zeph backstory, extremely sad. Right? They're literally stranded in an island. Like Sanji was on that like killer mentality shit as a little kid. Remember, he was thinking about killing Zev and potentially eating him.
No,
Like it
yeah,
was
Sanji was on some whole another other shit.
right. It was like, which just kind of puts it into perspective. For a kid to have that mentality, you would have had to go through some shit, right? Like, I mean, apart from the fact that you're extremely hungry, you pull a fucking knife on an adult, like you're both starving. I mean, Zeph could have killed him at any point in time, just eating him, right? But like,
Yeah,
he was
no,
just
yeah,
like,
100%.
but just like the fact that even went, like, how dark is that? Zeph having to cut off his leg, that
The
is
kid
just,
being basically tossed out into the ocean, then meeting this old dude who he doesn't like, and just getting stranded, just
yeah.
starving for like how long was it? Let's see.
It
Let's
was a
check this
long
out.
time. Yeah, let's actually see how long it actually.
2 years
Because
after he left the Smokes, the ship's cook. However, ships were caught in a sudden storm. Jeff managed to save the young before the storm.
yeah,
The two were washed up onto the rock. Despite their good fortune, there was little food for them, rations, and they washed up on the rock. Let's see. Days passed. No more food. Many weeks afterward, an
right.
emaciated Sanji decided to take a chance at killing Zeph. Oh, that's crazy. So they were there for a minute.
Yeah, man. Like,
They,
how dark is that, dude? He's literally a kid. How old is he? Like 6, maybe.
mhm.
Like he's a little. Oh man,
Like,
that's dark.
granted, Zeph did give him all the food. So Sanji was, for the most part, like if he was rationing it out smartly, he was somewhat chilling. He was just had to sit on the other side of an island and be mad, or a rock and just be
Right,
mad.
but what kind of child is rationing food like expertly, right? So it's like,
Exactly.
so he probably like messed up. He probably even like messed up some of the food, or just like he fucked up at some point, right? So, and then he eventually came to this homie, and this motherfucker cut his goddamn leg off, bro.
Mhm.
Like, this backstory hit me really hard, and it wasn't just because of what happened. Because if you compare it to maybe like the scale of Robin's backstory, I don't think it's comparable in terms of scale. But
No,
in
but in
terms of
terms of
just
like what it hits you, it's different. It's
yeah, yeah, especially when you read about it and when you actually watch it, it hits you hard. I am gonna put that as probably above Robin's or right next to it.
I almost put
Not
that as
not not
Senior
not
Pink.
not Senior Pink. I don't think it's quite there. It's close, but it's above Robin's in that tier or right next to it. I don't. Yeah, I'd put it like
I
I actually put it above Robin's because that shit happened and nothing changed. And Robin's, like I told you, like the whole like the information we're finding out about O'Hara now, I feel it kind of takes away from it because it's hard for me to look at it in a vacuum because it still affects like the actual events, you know.
I understand. And also
Um.
in the manga, it just felt a little heavier because like in the manga, it's highly insinuated that this guy ate his own leg,
Yeah. Yeah,
and in the
man.
anime, it's like, oh yeah, he lost it when he was fighting off. He was getting off the ship. No, he cut that after because he was like, damn, I gave all this little dude the
Yeah.
food.
I mean, imagine this though. I imagine it must have been hilarious in the 4 kids version because you
Oh
already
no,
know
yeah,
Sanji
lollipop
was
guild type thing.
literally, but that one is already really high. But the original one,
What
that's Senor Pink, easy, and that's not close.
getting locked up in a cage, getting
Oh,
just
bro, my
abused
heartstrings,
daily by the
my heartstrings.
especially when you add it up to what he has to go through after he escapes. It's so fucked.
Like his story, because you're right. We look at like the external factors, right? Somebody died in Zoro's life. Well, Sanji lost his mom, so there's already that external factor, right?
Hmm.
So there's also, I mean, Usopp lost his dad. You have Frankie like basically being abandoned as a kid. Bro, Sanji was literally locked up in a prison cell. You like
Day one.
look up the picture of him like where he has like that like mask on him. That shit's dark, bro. Like what that must do to a kid's psyche is actually insane. Like look how messed, bro. He can barely breathe through that, bro. Dude, how dark is that, right? Like
Poor
in
little
terms of
kid.
just it's absolutely disgusting. And then like all the things he has to deal with, and his siblings being pieces of shits, with the exception of Reiju, right?
Hmm.
Like it's just awful. It's just fuck, man. He had to deal with so much bullshit. That's easily Senior Pink level. Like he had to deal with so much bullshit, and it's like the moment he gets out, oh here you go, deal with bullshit. And it's like,
Yeah, no, you're saved. You're saved for like 2 days. Then you land on this rock, and then you gotta go and
yeah,
watch this old man basically shrivel.
dude. And then you think about what that. I mean, any kid going through that, you would expect him to grow up to be like, I don't know, think of like the most fucking heinous human being of all time. And then like the fact that Sanji grows up to be such an amazing character is just like it speaks on his character development and just like his nature in general, right? Because the way that they like Judge basically try to design him is like you're gonna be basically a weapon of that's basically what he was meant to be. And Sanji just grows up to be that dude. You feel me?
Hmm.
So
You
I
know,
would definitely say Senior Pink level, 100%.
not to be in the top four. The fourth.
All right, the disrespect. There's no way
But
you're
then
putting
it's just
Jinbei
funny
above
that
him.
he goes through all that just to get bullied by the Moss Head on a
Uh,
daily basis.
it's not really bullying. They just fight. They straight up fight. Like it's
Nah,
not
Zoro
bullying.
bullies him. Zoro could do it.
Nah, it's literally always even. But
Zoro
okay,
puts it on him, but sure.
nope, never.
Zoro 100% puts it on him.
Mm,
But
mm.
anyways, come over
Yeah,
here.
that's definitely on your pink level. So Law, uh yeah, Law's backstory is just as sad as Sanji's, if not sadder, actually.
I think it's worse. Like than
Yeah,
the original at least, and
when you consider what Corazon meant to Law, and then the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, they die. Like, you have other characters like, oh, these people died. Is that on the third? Pretty sad. He literally was in the fucking coffin or like the chest when the homie got shot, like right on top of it.
hmm
Like, it's like, dude, how dark is that? It's just his backstory in general, all the shit he had to go through, and also to just grow up and to be an amazing character. So it's like, fuck,
after his
man.
like entire what was it, all his people or his clan or whatever, they got
Yeah,
gassed and poisoned. right? He was there for that, so he had a little bit of that Robin spice in there. Then
Robin Spice.
he finds himself like in the Donkey or near the Don Quixote family, and he just hates everybody, constantly trying to kill Don Quixote or Corazon. Eventually, the one friend he does make just
Yeah.
gets gatted right there, gets got, and he just has to watch and sit there and have another moment like this.
Yeah, and then to make matters worse, like I know this doesn't have to do with the backstory itself, but to make matters worse, when he does finally get to fucking when he finally gets to the flamingo, he gets his arm cut off. He
Yeah.
gets his arm, it just gets clapped in the fight. You know what I
No,
mean? Like
yeah,
he
he
just
had this whole setup. He's like, I've been making this plan since I was a kid. I got everything set up. And Law's not dumb. Law's a pretty smart guy,
no, yeah, he's
right?
very smart.
So he's calculated everything. He's got all the variables, and Don Quixote's like, and it doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
the flamingo's the menace of you know what I'm saying? He's different. He's just different. Out of all the antagonists in One Piece, you can't possibly not say the Flamingo's one of the better ones. In terms of Law's backstory, though, apart from the fact that like the events, if we just look at the events in a vacuum, it's like yeah, pretty sad. But they're somewhat comparable to some of the events of the other characters. It's the way it was written, right? The way they introduce you to the character, the way they develop throughout it, his relationship with Corazon. You find it like, damn, finally, I'm happy for Law. But then it's like you have that dread about it, where it's like, this guy's not in the story right now.
Yeah,
Like,
where is
you know,
Corazon actually? Oh, he's on an
right?
island somewhere sipping a coconut.
Yeah, yeah, right. And knowing One Piece backstories, you're already kind of like bracing yourself for it, and then when it does finally happen, you're like just heartbroken. It's just awful, absolutely
Just
awful.
puro heartbreak.
Nami's backstory. Uh, sad, sad in general. Having to deal with Arlong and basically what equates to like the racism and just the prejudice that fishmen have against humans and vice versa. And she was abused constantly, like just having to deal with that. And
Mm,
I'm probably forgetting some of the stuff with her backstory, but I don't remember it being that impactful.
it was. I mean, it might not have been super impactful because just off rip, like when we meet Usopp and stuff, we meet Usopp and he's just like, oh, he's this character, he's kind of charismatic, and then you learn like what's going on with him, right? And then you're like, okay, okay. We meet Zoro, Zoro's kind of like this tough guy, and then you remember, then you meet why he's tough. Then Nami from minute one, lying, cheater, greedy,
Right?
and
Yeah.
then they try to get you in the fields, but already you're like, I don't like this girl, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I can
You're
see
right.
how it's not impactful, but she did have some sad shit happen to her, you know?
I feel like her backstory serves as a really good kind of almost like a jumping platform for the Arlong part story. Like it serves the story itself, like the arc itself, very well. Especially like when you hear her backstory, this, that, and the third. You have Arlong, and then like Zoro's all messed up, and this, that, and then you just see Luffy. You got the Overtaken theme playing in the background, right? And
Hmm.
everything. You're just like, oh shit, it's
Everything
about to go down.
culminating, everything's coming together.
But if we look right, correct. But if we look at it in a vacuum, right? Nami's backstory is not all that sad. I mean, if you take into consideration that there was probably some um extracurricular activities taking place between her and Arlong that I hope it's just like didn't
I
happen
really
because
hope.
that would be very unfortunate. That might have to put her up a few tiers in terms of like sad backstories because that's just so dark, right? But at
Hmm.
the same time, I want to say that probably didn't take place, but who really knows? It's not hard confirmed, but you know, it's somewhat implied. But I would put her story at, I mean, probably meh, right? I don't want to put it at be better. I mean, actually, it might be the top of be better, maybe,
I
or it,
think it could be alright. I think it could be alright. Because for the most part, like, Usopp's and Frankie's, like, they were okay, you know?
yeah,
But, like, Frankie's backstory isn't anything that's necessarily gonna, like, affect him later. Like, we're not gonna get some crazy story about how he's like, oh my god, this was the worst point of
right,
my life. Like, yeah, you lost some stuff. You gotta go and get you had to go and get some cyborg parts. Okay. And Usopp's is like, your dad left. He's literally there. Just doesn't want to
yeah,
meet you yet, right? And then his mom got sick,
right.
which is sad. But
Well, Nami's. I feel like we might have to put Nami's above theirs, either at be better or the top or the bottom of. I mean, it's I because realistically, like I said before, what it means to the arc itself, where they talk about her backstory, was pretty impactful in that sense. But the backstory in a vacuum wasn't all that crazy. I would put it.
I'd put
I
it at the
would
bottom of
put
it's
it.
alright.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just put it there. I feel like that's a good place to put it. Jinbei's
Now,
backstory is right next to Zoro's. Jinbei's backstory wasn't sad
Winbei is too cool. He's just cool.
because Jinbei's backstory wasn't even Jinbei's backstory. The sad part about Jinbei's backstory was literally Koala and Fisher Tiger. Fisher's Tiger's backstory was fucking extremely sad,
Educate me,
right?
because I don't really remember that too much.
So Jinbei was a part of Fisher Tiger's crew. Fisher Tiger was basically a fishman who was fighting for basically the rights of fishmen and like against the Tenryubito and like all of that, basically the crimes against fishmen that they had done. And I believe he was also the guy that invaded what do you call this place? I'm entirely forgetting the name. Extremely important. You know the castle in the sky where they had where Emu's at, bro?
Mary Joy?
Yeah, exactly. They he was one of the people that I think ended up invading Mary Jo's and saving Boa Hancock where she was a slave of the Tenryubito, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Jinbei was just a part of that crew, and then at some point, Koala becomes a part of their crew, and just suffers like the most inhumane, awful, like just bullying and just being treated like shit. Arlong was also a part of his crew. Um, but he gets absolutely his story is extremely sad. He gets betrayed, and it's just a sad overall story. Jinbei was just part of a lot of really sad stories. Shirahoshi's story. Oh yeah, just clapping. I mean Arlong because easy money, right? Which is hilarious when we think about it. Like, oh damn, Arlong was pretty strong in his arc, and then you meet Jinbei later on, and he's just like so much stronger. It's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start thinking, it's like, damn, Jinbei be out here smooth. But in terms of backstories, he was there for a lot of other backstories, just kind of in the background, maybe giving some advice every now and again. His backstory itself was kind of irrelevant. We don't really know much
He
about
just seemed like
Genbei.
he was a part of. He was there to watch some sad stuff.
Hmm.
Apart from that,
Which,
nothing
I
crazy.
mean, look, you can look through the wiki and see if you can find anything that like talks about his childhood. I don't recall. I really don't.
I mean, no, yeah, because here's just like, oh yeah, Fisher Tiger's
Yeah,
time
yeah. It's just
after
like
Fisher
there's no.
Tiger's death.
We might get some Jinbei when he was a child backstory, perhaps. I mean, because this is basically missing. So I feel like, to be fair, we have to put him right next to Zoro, right? Maybe even below Zoro, because I mean, he was just there for sad stuff, right?
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, right. So Jinbei probably has the weakest backstory out of the Straw Hats. I never thought of that actually. That's true. No, not below in terms of a new tier, but just
Oh.
like at the bottom of Bug.
Fuck.
Right. So Jinbei, unfortunately, probably has the weakest backstory because we don't know what it is. We know some of his past interactions and stuff, but we don't actually know his childhood backstory. So there's that.
And then we come to my boy
I
old flat top
mean,
Kozuki.
so this story can be broken down into many different like sections, but basically it goes his time with the Roger Pirates and the world building aspect, right, of that, and then there's his story back in Wano. So we can talk about both, right?
Kick it off. Let's start with before, and then when he hit, then when he got over to Whitebeard's crew.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, his story with Wano, I mean, his backstory was not sad whatsoever. Prior to him going out to sea, is when he came back when it was like really really sad. Where you find out like the whole thing with like Kaido and dealing with basically his whole country getting taken over and just his people basically just being completely subjugated, right? So
Mm-hmm.
dealing with that and just the way he chose to deal with it, it was just so fucking sad just watching like literally one of the greatest warriors in the One Piece universe like ever, bar none, to fucking have him like basically act like a clown for years just for the sake of his people. Especially having to deal with somebody like a coward like Orochi. Like that shit must have been such a fucking hard pill to swallow. It's just for the sake of his people and the sake of his family. You know what I'm saying? A man's man, you know, Cha Den. You know what I'm talking
Yeah, cause
about?
he was out here. He made the deal with the witch and the dude, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll go to town. I'll dance like a little idiot. Be in my underwear, and I'll be fine. You know, it doesn't matter. 5 years, who
Right.
cares? Cause he was just that type of dude. He was hard boiled. You know, just like my boy Senor Pink. He was hard boiled. He
But
was just
that's
a
not
man's
even
man.
that's not the saddest part whatsoever. The
Nah.
saddest part has to actually be his actual death. His actual death is actually like it's sad but somewhat inspiring. Not even somewhat, it's extremely inspiring in my opinion. Like the homie's literally holding up like everybody he cares about on his shoulders, right? And he's just so doing it so proudly. And he was tanking. He was tanking that heat, bro. He was out there, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like the way he dealt with it. He just didn't want them to suffer whatsoever. It's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, you already know
While
Nekamamushi
while this
alone.
disrespectful traitor sat right
Oh
there
my
adding weight.
god, bro, Kanjiro, bro, like fuck that motherfucker right there, bro. How dare he? How dare he? You already know Ashura Doji and Nekomamushi alone weigh at least 3,000 pounds. You know what I'm
Right.
talking about? So it's like he has to deal with that, and it's just like quite literally being boiled alive. And that's not even what took the homie out. They had to shoot my boy in the head, bro. They had to shoot my boy in the
Cause
head,
my
bro.
guy was just too strong. He was out here helping out.
But
He fought them Roxy Zebek, no?
I don't think we don't. I don't know if that's confirmed.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know if
confirm that
that's
right now. I'm gonna
confirmed.
confirm that right now, along with
I don't
Silver
think he
King's
was. I
backstory.
don't think. I don't think he was Solar King's backstory. You're never gonna get those files.
Hey man, hey
Uh,
man.
those are these classified, bro. You can't don't touch those files. But yeah, I mean Odin's backstory, bro. Only this is only part of it, right? I mean, extremely sad. The fact that and just to see like his legacy, right, and like what he represented and how it affected everybody. Like the homie was just one of the and then this is like the best part of his backstory isn't even this. My personal opinion, the best part of his backstory is always obviously just seeing more of Roger, seeing more of Whitebeard, seeing more of like just the past characters. It's just absolutely amazing. His backstory, in my personal opinion, when you combine everything, whether it be the sadness of his death and just his travels, the world building aspect of his travels, just finding out more about Roger, finding out more about young Whitebeard, seeing young Whitebeard actually fight was so fucking amazing. Seeing that clash between Roger and Whitebeard, right, from the lens, it's just amazing. Just seeing
Mm-hmm.
how fucking disgustingly overpowered Roger was. Because I love the setup where you see how broken Odin is, right? He's clashing with Whitebeard, he's holding his own. The moment that motherfucker tries to get up on Roger's grill, he gets hit with that "What's up, city boy?" Boom!
What's up, city
Blasted,
boy?
blasted like Team Rocket, homie. He got blasted across the island, free. You know, you see that clash between Whitebeard and Roger with the crazy Conqueror's armament fucking mix where like their swords aren't even touching, they're bending and the whole fucking island is shaking.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's crazy. The Odin
Didn't these dudes take a
backstory.
lunch break in between because they were like, "Damn man, fighting you so hard." He's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, yeah. So I think they were fighting for like 7 days or some crazy shit. They were fighting for a very long time. Not just them, but their whole crews too. Like seeing young Rayleigh. Young Rayleigh had that Zoro drip. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now, dude. It was just amazing. So, in terms of just because this is kind of like looking at like the sadness of backstories, if we just talk about how sad it was, I think it's still Senior Pink level, even if you just exclude
Yeah, I
the
think
world
if
building
anything, it could
aspect.
be at the bottom of Senior Pink level.
Yeah, I'll say that. It's either at the bottom or somewhere. Like it's up there. I think Laws is the saddest, but it's up there. It's between him and Sanji for like that. But if we talk about best overall One Piece backstory, it's easily Odin. It's not, and it's not even close, right? Like it's just like it's the
He
best
was there for
backstory by
so
far.
much. He was there for
Yeah,
so much. Went through so much as well as a kid. Like I remember I was reading this and then they were like, Rox D. Zebek, toss that aside, Kozuki Oden. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Did I miss a few manga
yeah,
chapters? And
literally,
then I'm like, why the hell am I reading about this? Go, oh
he
shit! And
was
then
clean,
it was clean.
amazing. So yeah, I mean, apart from that. yeah, I'd say senior pink level. And if we look at overall backstory, not just sadness aspect and shock value, Odin's definitely the best in my opinion. It's not even close. So up next, what do we have?
So
Luffy.
up next is actually the poor individual that had to go through the torment of being framed and being accused of being some useless good for nothing cook known as Sanji. I don't remember
Oh
his names,
god.
because I don't
I,
want to put his name out there like that, you know what I'm saying?
wasn't his name? What was his name, bro? I don't even remember.
All I know is that dude was so ugly that they thought he was Sanji. And
See,
that was
that's a
sad.
you just put him out here to disrespect my boy Sanjay, but that's all right.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I think he's got one of the saddest backstories because he just
We're
had to,
above we're above that disrespect. It's all good, right? So Luffy, Luffy. Also, you might as well put that motherfucker's backstory above Zoro's because it's definitely sadder. That's for sure.
I mean, shit, if I had to be
Yeah, put him
identified as
right above him.
Sanji,
Put him right above him. No, yeah. I mean, you know how it is.
uh,
It is what it is. Yeah.
I'll put him
No, where you going?
right
Yeah.
up here.
Put him, put
Right
him,
up
put him
here.
where he belongs. Put him where he belongs. All right. Now, Luffy's backstory. I feel like with Luffy's character, a lot of the really heart wrenching moments came within the story itself and not his backstory. Even though his backstory was pretty sad, Luffy not having Dragon in his life was never a relevant thing. It never affected him. For
Yeah,
example,
he
how
never even thought about that. He didn't even know he had a
no,
dad
yeah, right, and having to deal. I mean, Luffy had kind of a happy life
for the most part.
because you think. I mean, because if you consider from the fact of like how these characters suffered, Luffy didn't really suffer like that. He was with Ace, he was with Sabo, and having to
Well,
deal with
yes, he did have for a mostly relatively happy life comparatively. Like when you look at Law, and then you look over at like Nami and Sanji. But then also you think about like, yeah, he saw Sabo go sail off into the distance, only to watch this dude explode. And like we know what happens with Sabo later on, but
right.
in that vacuum, if we just keep it in a tight vacuum, like this dude just saw his best friend just explode. Just bam, gone off the map. Right after this dude's family was just crazy and they didn't want him to be in that type of life. So still think it's fairly sad for the most part. He was still pretty sunshine and rainbows for like a fat minute there. Like I'm sure him, kid Luffy and kid Sanji would not get along together because Kid Sanji would try to just choke him to death.
Yeah, because Sanji was not playing that shit. Because Sanji was not playing that happy-go-lucky shit. He would have fucking turned him into a rubber noose, bro. He's just to hang
Exactly,
himself.
dude.
Like, yeah. But I would say overall, I would put him at. I want to say now that you remind me of a Sabo thing, because you gotta think of like how that affected somebody like Luffy. It's not like Zoro who lost his best friend. Sure, it was his best friend and his training partner, but the bond that Luffy, Sabo, and Ace had was quite literally a brotherly bond, and just literally watching, right? Just what? Because like it's not like fucking Zoro saw her like get shanked or anything. She was just sick, right? So was she sick? I don't recall. Who cares? So with Luffy's like just actually having to go through something like that, I would put him up right above Frankie. I'd probably put him right above Frankie. Do you think he'd be at It's I don't even know if I want to put him at up there though, because it's like you also have to like
It's because, like you said, his most impactful stuff comes afterwards.
I mean, yeah, bro. Like one of my favorite scenes in the whole series, and one of the most gut wrenching scenes in the whole series. Like, motherfuckers gonna think I'm gonna say, oh yeah, when Ace died, I don't go. All right, I'm sorry. I have words about Ace,
Wow.
but yeah, I said it. But that's besides the point. It was when Kuma starts teleporting them in Saboti, right? And
Oh yeah.
just and you should see Luffy literally reacting like, did this motherfucker just kill my whole crew? Like, did he just literally disappear them from existence?
Yeah.
Because that's what it looks like. That's
Like
literally what it looks like.
if you think about it, because obviously it wasn't written at that time, but if you think about it from the perspective of Luffy, right? Like just trauma based, right?
Yeah.
He's with his homies, right? and then suddenly homies just start getting got like Sabo. Like instantly, some dude just gets disappeared, exploded, whatever happened in Luffy's mind, right?
Yeah,
Instantly flashbacks to Sabo. Now let's do that 5 more times, 6 more times. You feel me?
bro. Because he blinked, dude. The scariest part is when he blinked Chopper's monster point. You're like, what? He just blinked him out of existence. I was like, oh, okay. So we're just doing some crazy ass fucking like teleport. Like I don't even. I was like, there ain't no way. But then the most gut wrenching part is just seeing the scene where you just see Luffy screaming. He's just punching the ground, and he's like literally just completely contorting in pain from seeing literally his family get practically killed in his mind.
Hmm.
So that's one of the saddest and most emotional scenes in the whole story for me.
And like the thing is, he's also going through that thinking, I'm the one that put these people in this situation. You feel me? Like
Right.
if he didn't go and like unite all these people and bring them, and I forgot what arc was going on at the time, but
So
go on.
I believe that was Saboti, and I believe what had happened. I think no, yeah, 100% at this point he had already punched the Tenryubito, and after punching the Tenryubito, they were basic. I mean, you can't you can't hit a Tenryubito. The moment you do that shit, they literally bring out top tiers of the Marines. So
Hmm.
they basically like sent like Kizaru to start laying people out, and a bunch of pacifista as well. And Kuma happened to be around, but basically what Kuma did was save them because they would have died.
Yeah,
Kizaru would
one
have
hundred
killed
percent.
everybody there. Kizaru would have killed everybody there. So Kuma saved them, but at that point in time, Luffy doesn't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Then he gets fucking blasted into Amazon Lily and gets to look at titties, look at him, you know? So there's that. And yeah, I feel like a lot of Luffy's like really sad stuff comes later on. His character development comes from later on.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's good. I think you could make arguments for him being at the bottom of I mean it's I or even like right next to Nami. But for now, let's leave him there. It's interchangeable anyway. Like the tiers aren't too separated in that sense. Like there's a way bigger jump between saying your pink level and who's cutting onions
Hmm.
compared to like I mean it's I and be better, right? So let's say so who would we got? Oh wow,
Hmm?
We got Rudolph next.
Yeah, no. So we have the food reserves here.
The food reserves. No,
I I really don't like what they turned Chadi Per into.
Chabi. Yeah.
I don't like what
Yeah,
they turned him into. He's just a
they turned him
mascot now.
into correct. They turned him into a mascot. I guess they fucking started selling Chopper plushies over in Japan and then started making hella money and it got told his head or what. It was really unfortunate because if you look at Chopper in the pre-time skip, Chopper, yes, he has his joking moments because it's always the trio of jokes: Nami, Usopp, Chopper, right?
Hmm.
Always scared of everything. They're just looking around. They're always terrified. They're just fucking like always making jokes about how like Luffy and Zoro and Sanji definitely have no reason to be fighting dinosaurs and we just be in the ship and not. But when it came down to actually throwing down, Chopper was game. Okay, Chopper was game. Like you when push came to shove, Chopper was game. He made the rumble ball. He had different point. Like that's another thing too. His transformations actually had meaning. They made sense, and they were actually kind of badass. You remember that one transformation where he had like a pretty big upper body in general. He looked kind of swole, and then he had that other transformation. He had Kung Fu point,
Oh
right?
yeah.
He had that weird reindeer one where it was like extra. Like he had like really cool ones, and Monster Point is.
That's what I liked
And
about him in the past because he was like at any point in the story he was like, "Oh, this isn't working for me. It's cool. I can just solve this." Right? Cuz he's a smart guy or should be a smart guy, right?
yeah,
So he's like, "Oh, in this situation what I really need is a tank point. Here we go. Bam. Does that or he just goes, "Oh, human point," and then he gets into his buff form.
right. So unfortunately, where he's at in the story right now, and because of the way that things are kind of evolving, like the One Piece story is at a point right now where we're nearing a climax of quite literally everything. Like crazy shit's happening left and right. Things are being revealed all over the story, and it feels like there's no time to basically have Chopper regress into the character, or rather evolve into the character he used to be, right? And it's kind of unfortunate, but that's kind of where we're at with Chopper. But his backstory itself is probably one of the best ones in the crew. I would say in terms of sadness, it's just impacted. Look up his story. Like I recall some of it, but like the whole Drum Island arc and the whole idea behind it was actually a lot more emotional than I initially thought it would be when we first got there. So
So Chopper was originally a reindeer with the slight oddity of a blue nose, which caused other reindeers, even his parents, to treat him as an outcast. Damn. Even
right,
even just as an animal, before he even got consciousness, right? They were already tossing him to the side. They didn't even want him. So
right.
fairly sad.
So Chopper got the fishman treatment to an extent, you know, like even as an animal they didn't want you, and once you kind of became that, you ate that human, right? It's like now they don't want you because you're some weird looking hybrid and no one wants you realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Having to deal with that, and especially, I mean, think about it, right? You're an animal living an animal's life, right? Like with an animal's consciousness, and now you have a human's intellect, and actually a pretty advanced one at that. And now you have to deal with the same amount of prejudice and the same amount of just hatred towards you, but now you actually have the understanding to kind of just see where it's coming from, how it's accumulated, and it's just a lot worse. It's like a crazy mind fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, it's pretty crazy. What else in his
He
backstory?
at no point he had a home, like realistically, because everybody was just trying to toss him aside.
Right.
So when the young reindeer ate the Hito Hito Nomi, however, his herd ostracized even more.
Yeah.
And
Like I said.
he struck out on his own. Unfortunately, Chopper and his attempts communicating with the humans on Drum Island proved disastrous, with the villagers mistaking him for a Yeti. And damn,
Yeah.
one time he tried to make friends, gets shot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Chopper's story is pretty sad. It's similar to Sanji's in that, well, it's similar in a sense, in a vacuum to Sanji's, right? Because you have to consider like just completely being treated differently, right? And being just completely alienated from, and all, the saddest part about Chopper, apart from he's like a little adorable reindeer, it's just like the saddest part is you just fucking like you want to be his friend. You just want to hug him when you find out that like nobody wants to be around him, and for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like poor Chopper, poor Chopper. Chadi purr, bro.
Chadi purr.
You know what? Maybe he deserves to be a whole ass mascot. Fuck,
Maybe he
fuck
deserves
him.
people to like him.
Fuck it, Chopper. Live your best life, dog. Live your best life, Chopper. Holy shit.
So
Goodness
now,
gracious.
at this point, that's when Doctor Hiruluk picks him up. Took him in as a friend and assistant. Although his deeds were dubious in medical value, Hiruluk became Chopper's role model, taught Chopper how all the philosophy of life and medicine. And then that's when Hiruluk got the anime cancer.
Yeah,
And
man. Yeah, that makes sense.
and
Bro,
that
that shit is brutal. That
that
shit
shit
called Roger laid him out. That shit laid out Goku.
laid out Goku, laid out Roger, laid out Itachi.
Laid
Bro,
everybody out.
shit, anime cancer's real.
Yeah, bro, that shit's crazy. But yeah, man, Chopper's backstory is pretty sad. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hmm. Then we all know what
So,
happens after he tries to go and kill the doctor. It was a
Chaw
beautiful,
Deeper.
it was a beautiful, happy time. You know, he just cured him, and
No, yeah,
everything's
he
great.
stayed in Drum Island. Everybody accepted him for who he
Yeah,
was. You know what I'm saying? He said goodbye to his friends in Straw Hats.
of course. You know, he set out on his own. So
So
really, Baka, no?
Chopper is, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Uh, it's right next to. Fuck, man, it might be
I
above
want to say who's cutting
Death.
onions.
I think he's highest in Who's Cutting Onions, either highest or right next to Sanji.
I think higher than Sanji, just because like at some point, like Sanji still had people that liked him. You know, at some point
Yeah,
in his
yeah.
life, he had his mom. He had the rats that he was cooking for. He had
Ratatouille. But no, like real talk though, you do bring up a good point there. He actually knew what love was from his mom. His mom loved him. You know what I mean?
uh
Chopper was just straight up as like, bro,
nah,
fuck
blue
off.
nose, get out.
Literally, take that L 24/7, no matter what. We hate you, we hate you, we hate you. I'll put him at the top of its cutting onions.
Damn. Now I kind
Yeah.
of feel bad for putting the picture of the reindeer. Oof.
You feel bad? Dude, you already did it. So that's Chopper.
Ah, that's
I mean, lore accurate Chopper. So
the live action version of Chopper is gonna be crazy.
now in terms of sadness, purely, I don't
Oh
think
man.
I don't. I mean, just look it up. I don't even want to talk about it without doing it justice. Just, just absolutely insane Brooks backstory, right? Like, goodness gracious, dude.
So,
Goodness gracious.
52 years ago, Brooke was a part of the
Yeah,
Yorkies, Pirates crew and the Roombar Pirates.
yeah,
As one of the many musicians that comprised most of the crew. One day, while he and the rest of his crew were still in the West Blue, the
yeah.
ship was followed by a baby whale who had
Oh
gotten
yeah,
lost.
balloon. The whole balloon
Uh,
storyline is really adorable.
Laboon.
Oh, I call it balloon. No. Yeah, Laboon. Yeah, bro. Realistically though, like that's one of like those feel good moments when him and Laboon reunite because it's gonna happen.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? We know it's alive because Luffy and crew like fucked it up at one point.
The fact that they scarred it and faded it was just oh my god. No,
Yeah,
they just faded over the scars. My bad.
yeah. It's crazy.
So, seeing that the whale was really upset, Brooke suggested to his captain that they should play some music to cheer up the whale. Together, the rest of the crew, Brooke played a beautiful song that worked. And then,
And it ended right there, happily ever after.
happily ever after, it was one of the best anime moments ever.
Yeah, say wholesome, wholesome.
Skip fast forward, their ship broke a bit. And then they just chilled out with the whale. After 3 months of fixing their ship, Brooke and the rest of the Roombar pirates decided to leave Laboon under the care of Crocus, who they
Oh,
promised.
Crocus, bro! Crocus had the strongest power squad of all time,
I forgot who Crocus is.
bro. Crocus was
God
basically
damn, he was dripping.
Crocus was the actually the doctor in Roger's crew.
Oh, he was?
Yes, look up young Crocus with the power squad, dog. Look up young Crocus with Roger. Yeah, he was the doctor in Roger's crew. Boy, Crocus was popping. Look
Damn!
at
Damn,
Crocus.
he's mean with it. Look at
He's
how he's mean
injected.
mugging.
Crocus is clean, bro. Crocus not that confident about him. Like he didn't throw hands. It's probably because him and fucking Roger were always butting hands. He butting heads. It's like, bro, I'll fuck this motherfucker Roger up. I'll fucking inject AIDS into his veins, and you ain't gonna do nothing.
Wait, this guy almost beat anime cancer. He was holding it back for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Crocus was popping, dog.
Crocus is pretty crazy. I wonder where it's going.
Click on that picture right there towards the top, right next to the one where he's reading a newspaper. Because I think he's hitting the power squad there. Let me see where he's at. Yeah, that's the one. Where is he? Look at him right there in the back hitting the power squad.
Oh, no, no, he's sitting on a crate. He's sitting on a crate.
Ah, come on, Crocus. Come on, Crocus.
Crocus don't want to show that power squad off. You know what I mean?
Crocus is broken though. Crocus badass, bro. Look at Crocus. Yo, let's
Oh,
go.
man, Crocus. Damn, I completely forgot about him.
That's what I love about One Piece. There's so many fucking characters that are really cool. Just kind of like they're pretty much side characters, but like just seeing snippets of them is just really adds to the story.
I
Look at my
feel
boy
you.
Crocus. No legs to be found because Oda doesn't know how to draw fucking lower bodies apparently.
But power squats,
Yeah.
regardless.
Anyways,
So they promised Laboon that they would come back for the whale after the going around the world, and by then Laboon would have become very big, and thus they promised to take Laboon along their adventures. And then here's where the sad stuff parts. The sad shit
woo.
happens. As Brooke and the rest of the Roomba Prize traveled across the Grand Line, they experienced all the challenges the sea had to offer. Despite the difficulties, they simply sang along while continuing to sail on. However, disaster struck the crew one day. The captain of the Roomba Pirates, Yorkie, and several others had caught an incurable disease. There goes anime cancer.
Yeah, anime cancer be popping the hell off, dude.
While
Holy.
While disembarking at a forest to keep the disease from spreading to the rest of the crew who were infected, Yorkie decided to take himself and the infected of the Roombar Pirates' first ship and try to escape the Grand Line by going through the calm belt. Yorkie
Yeah.
told Brooke and the remaining Roombar Pirates of his decision and how he regretted it as it was the only way to save the uninfected. Seeing as he could not return back to Laboon, Yorkie asked Brooke and the rest of the crew to give his regards to the whale. Super tremendously sad. Already, this dude's just like,
Yeah, man.
it's,
Also,
it's
just the fact the Brooks backstory has like 8 paragraphs already tells you
no, yeah.
already tells you
Brooke,
how sad this
Brooke
is.
could have had his own book.
Yeah, bro. Like you look at Jinbei's backstory. So, anyways, Jinbei in his 20s, and then all that's like did like meanwhile Brooks' backstory is like, yeah, here's a fucking encyclopedia of why Brooks' backstory is extremely sad.
Despite losing half the crew, Brooke and the remaining Roombar pirates continued sailing to the Grand Line on a new ship. He was appointed their new captain. Oh, I forgot he was their captain.
No, yeah, that means a lot to a fucking dying ass fucking ship,
Ah,
basically.
meron mal, Captain Brooke.
Captain Brooke.
Brooke gained a bounty for himself. Things went smoothly for Brooke and the remaining Roombar pirates. However, upon returning to the Florian Triangle, Brooke and his remaining crewmates were attacked by some enemy pirates, and some of his crewmates were able to barely survive the assault. However, since the enemy had their weapons poisoned, the Roombar pirate's doctor was killed. Oh, they didn't get all taken out by the same anime cancer. I thought it was the same anime cancer. Brooke and the survivors were slowly wasting away. Knowing that he had eaten the Yomi Yomi Nomi, Brooke suggested one last thing to his crew. He suggested them that they should play one last song
Come on, bro.
that they would record on the tone dial. Does he still have the tone dial?
I'm not sure.
I hope he does. I pray he does have that tone dial. Brooke promised his crewmates that he would take this sundial and play it for Laboon to hear. Overjoyed with Brooke's proposal, the remaining Roombar pirates mustered what little strength they had and started singing their favorite song one last time.
Goodness gracious.
So, to just expedite this, they just continued playing the song, and bodies just started dropping left and right until it was just Brooke playing the piano, and then Brooke died ish, kind of,
I
but not
mean,
really.
how many years was he there with the corpses? Or like just the rotting fucking I mean, how long was he just there alone after that? It
For
must have been a
it
long
said
ass time.
for the next few uneventful decades, due to the ship's rudder having been
Uneventful
broken.
decades. Right, because he was stuck. I remember that. He was stuck.
Yeah, that's why he's all bones, because his soul couldn't get back to his body in time to rejuvenate it. So he was stuck there for a few decades, which we could assume like 30, 40 years. After
Yeah,
some
man.
time, Brooks' ship drifted over to Thriller Bark for 5 years prior to the start of the series. So yeah.
Like, dude, I mean, think about like what a crew means to basically the captain or just like crew members in general in the One Piece story. That's your family, right?
Hmm.
And just you saw some of them die to anime cancer, but you kind of think about that. But then the remaining ones, you're like, oh man, I gotta protect these guys no matter what. These are the only people I have. Now you gotta deal with them slowly rotting away from poison while you're stuck out at sea, just wallowing in the misery of having lost everybody you care about. And just literally the silence, oh, the heartstrings playing that last song, you know what I mean? Having them sing
Hmm.
with you. It's just, oh,
And it's
oh,
also
yeah,
just that it was a fire soundtrack that he had to the end of his crew's life. It was just a
yeah,
fire
man.
ass soundtrack. Oh man, I really hope he still has that toned out. Let me find out. Does Brooke still
Goodness
have this toned out?
gracious. Goodness gracious, Brooke. Soul the King. Goodness gracious. One of the coolest One Piece characters, in my personal opinion. I love Brook. I love his fighting style, like the whole fencing aspect of it, like the speed blitz he be hitting. He speed blitzed Big Mom. He blitzed Big Mom's pants.
I really wish like they would put Brooke just way higher on the tier list, because Brooke is just I like Brooke's character, like his design, his
Yeah,
story, the way he does everything, his yo ho ho moments.
yeah.
He's so badass. I
He
just wish he was way stronger. Like I want him to be way more up there.
he definitely deserves a lot more credit. And unfortunately, in Wano, he didn't get a lot of shine. Right, a lot of the Straw Hat characters get a lot of shine, but unfortunately, Brook was one of them. He didn't really get one of the main fights, and I hope going forward he does get one, at least a really, really, really well kind of crafted one. Because Oda does this thing sometimes with fights, especially well, just in the manga and the anime in general, that I don't like, which is he kind of skips back and forth between fight and something that's going on somewhere else. And then sometimes he'll come back to that same fight and he would have skipped a lot of the content. I understand that, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The One Piece story is so huge and there's so many things to account for, and he's probably working on the deadline. But at the same time, it takes away from the impact of some of those fights if I come back to Brook basically right after he had a crazy war against Big fucking Mom. You know what I'm talking about? Like, literally, you see Brook at the beginning, you see like Soul the King, you just see like a big ass soul behind him, like, what the fuck is Brook doing, dude? What? He's out here fighting
Because
Big Mom
nobody
for a
expects
poneglyph,
this.
bro.
Nobody expects him to do all this crazy shit.
But bro, he was tangling with Big Mom. I mean, a lot of it has to do because of like the way that their fruits work against each other. It really kind of put him in an even playing field in that sense. He's still Speed Blitzer though. I'm not saying Brook is Yonko level, obviously, by no means.
Nice
But
people
the
to the
fact that
fuck out of him.
he was able to, like, it's just like Brook is so underrated. Also, you know how everybody was like, oh, so what, Big Mom's Island, what's it called?
Whole cake.
Whole Cake. Whole Cake Island is supposed to be like, they were talking about like, oh, the year of Sanji. I'm like, bro, that was the year of Brook. All right. Brook stole the poneglyphs, right? He got copies of the poneglyphs that they needed very badly. Had like a whole ass off-screen fight with Big Mom. Speed Blister later on in the ship. Brook was popping in Whole Cake.
And he had that whole clean ass like, cause he has his clean moments. He just doesn't like to share that in front of everybody,
Mhm.
which is so sad. Like he had that moment where Big Mom was like, "What were you thinking? You were gonna come here, get this road poneglyph, and what? Get fucked up?" And he's like, "You never account for dying in your plans." And then he speed blitzes out. He's like, "By the way, I'm
Bro,
out. Peace. Let me see your pennies.
bro.
Ciao."
Brooke is so
Yo.
Brooke deserves so much more credit. What an amazing character. Out of the Straw Hats, I'm willing to say he's the most underrated by far. I rarely hear anybody giving Brooke his credit.
Out of the straw, it's like legit. If I just go to like design and the way I like the character, I just like Brooke. I just love
Brooke is
love
awesome.
everything about his
Brooke is
character.
awesome.
He's gaggy. He's just funny. He just does his thing.
But when he
He's
has a
just a
serious
vibe.
moment, they're badass. Especially like that whole thing he has going on with like the soul and the freezing aspect stuff he has going on now, where he like speed blitz you and leave like a whole ass, almost on some Rukia like absolute zero shit going on. I'm like, yo, that's it. That is fucking fire. Brooke is godlike. I'm telling you. But yeah, let's go back to his backstory in general. Is the last one we got. So
Hmm.
I think it's the best one in
I
terms of
agree.
sadness. In sadness overall,
However,
it
with you, I think it's above Soga King.
God damn, even undisclosed Sonic King.
I mean, I don't know how you come after Brooke. I mean,
Uh,
Brooks just got drip on him
literally
constantly.
make a new tier just called Brook and just put it at the top because he deserves it. All right,
Just
he's just
Brooke.
amazing. Just Brook, dude. He deserves all the credit.
Brooke.
I wish it was more popular with the fans, so Oda would actually give him more of the limelight. Even though he has his scenes in Whole Cake, he had his scenes, But I want more. I want more from Brook is great.
I want more Brook drip. I want more Soul King. I like all the craziness.
Yeah, it's amazing. Huge Brook fan. Huge Brook fan.
It's phenomenal.
Overall, I feel like this tier list is pretty good. Some interchangeable stuff towards the bottom. I like Be Better, and I mean it's a high tier. Some interchangeable stuff. I feel. Oh, what happened there?
What hell? What?
You what's this? What's the sudden movements going on
What you
here?
talking about?
Um. hmm, huh, Oh yeah, yeah. That's how you feel. Okay.
Get
Um.
me better.
I
Maybe.
feel like in I mean it's a I and below. There's some interchangeable like spots that could be messed around with. Um. But I mean, keep in mind this is all our opinion. If you think otherwise, then no problem, y'all. You're just wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
So so we've got but from who's cutting onions and above, I think everything's very accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this definitely makes a lot more sense. Listen, if you don't think Brooke has the saddest fucking story in the One Piece verse, like I don't know what to fucking tell you.
He
You're just
carries the
you're
tone
eating glue.
dial. He carries the tone dial in his body at all times in
He
case he
still
sees
carries
them.
it.
Yeah, I
Stop
looked
it.
it up. I looked it
Stop
up.
it.
Vientra. He still
Stop it.
carries the Toadile in his body because he's never gonna forget that moment, right? And he's probably just waiting to see Laboon to hear it again because he probably wants to hear his friends play with him again.
Bro,
Oh man. Do you
Brooke.
know where
You
the
know what?
power up is? You know where the crazy insane Brook moment power up? Army of the Dead Brook. They're calling it right now. Full awakening
Yo,
Army of the Dead Brook. Somebody breaks the tone dial. Somebody gets fucked.
yeah, bro. He breaks the tone, bro. Dude, imagine on some Yamamoto shit. Imagine,
Oh yeah, he brings back his crew.
yo, no, not that
That would be
crazy. Chill.
crazy. That would be
He'd have to
crazy.
go. He'd have to go all the way back. And shit. I mean, they're not even. They're probably decomposed at this point.
That's Soul King. Calls the
But
souls.
but think about this, right? They broke the fucking dial, dude. And homie literally speed blitzes, starts speed blitz killing people, reviving them, and using them as puppets to keep speed blitz killing people.
That would be clean. I would love to see Brooke just go mind break. None of that panty shit too. Like I love him when he's funny, but he's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah, yeah.
nah, I don't want to see shit.
Yeah, bro. Brooke, when Brooke sees red or blue, I guess, or I mean black, yo ho ho ho.
Yo ho
You
ho
know what I'm
ho.
saying? Like, bro, I'm telling you, this dude right here. You know what? I'm glad we're giving Brooke his flowers because he deserves them. All right, he deserves a lot more credit.
Hmm. There's also that sad theory that pops in all the time, where Brooke is technically immortal, right? For all
Right.
intents and purposes. So no matter what happens at the end of One Piece, this dude is most likely gonna see everybody kick the bucket.
Right. The curse of immortality, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, there's that. I mean, well, when we consider the fact that One Piece characters, I mean, the average lifespan of a human in One Piece is up in the hundreds. He has a long time. You know, he
He
has a
got a
while.
while. He got a while. That's still gonna be
He has a
sad.
while.
He'll be
He has a
watching
while.
Luffy's kid try to become king of the pirates, and he's gonna be chilling with Laboon. But it'll be sad.
Well, but you know what? We say that, but then you have to consider things like Vega, right? And like technology and what that might do to people's lifespans, assuming that
No,
at the end of the
don't turn the Grand Line into Boruto taking a yacht.
no, 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 no. I'm not saying. I mean, we we're way more advanced than that. I mean, think about what Vegapunk's been able to do. But anyways, just like in terms of just like advancements and stuff, he could definitely because you know what's really strange too is like the whole gears aspect. And now, how does that work with like Luffy's fruit now,
What do you
right?
mean?
Because they talked about how Gear Second specifically, and just like using the gears would affect Luffy's lifespan.
Hmm.
But how does that work with the actual awakening of the fruit itself?
I think Law is probably gonna have to use that thing where he gives Luffy like a life
Ugh,
extension.
that I'm okay with that being the end of Lost Story, but I don't want it to be like that.
Wait, no, does he have to die to do that?
Yeah,
Oh shit!
yeah. You can't. You die every time you use it.
Oh shit! Didn't know it was like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, look it up just in case I'm talking shit, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
Uh,
Yeah, mom. The ultimate surgery. Really, really, really sad.
uh,
The unfortunate part is that I feel like we're at a point now where Law's death feels almost inevitable. Out of the characters that you feel like will die,
okay, they just put
his
him in all these situations to get fucked.
yeah, I mean against Blackbeard. I hope he doesn't die against Blackbeard. Especially with the way they're setting things up now, they might set up Garp's death, but yeah, bro. I mean, he has the most busted devil fruit in the entire series, and it's not even close.
Oh, video game only techniques. No mind. I don't see
Ex-
ultimate surgery up here.
extremely hexed.
Let's see.
It should be somewhere around there where they talk about like you know.
Regenerates protective barrier. Gamma knife, Sturban, a technique will allow you. Uh, mess. Personality transplant. He can transfer people's personalities.
Yeah, you don't remember when he transferred Sanji and Nami and Smoker and Tashigi?
That's
In,
actually busted.
yeah, in what do you call this island in Caesar Clown's Island? What you call it? Punk Hazard. There you go. Yeah. So there should be
Open venom is
some.
nasty. It's nasty busted.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't say anything about the that thing,
yeah.
the ultimate surgery.
Hold up. Let's see.
According to the flamingo has the ability to grant eternal youth. However,
Yeah,
it comes at the cost of the okay. Duff, are we really gonna trust Duflamingo's word?
yeah. I mean, think about the reason why you would trust it is because think about like the fact that Doflamingo wanted the fruit. He has no reason to lie about such a broken ass fruit. Also, when you consider the fact that Law's fruit is quite literally that busted, not surprising.
Mm.
Not surprising whatsoever.
But
Ah,
yeah,
man.
that's a heavy gift. See, if he grants eternal youth to whoever, eternal youth, immortality, giving that to Luffy would be nasty. But Luffy probably wouldn't take it. Zoro would probably
Luffy
take it,
definitely wouldn't take
but
it.
the
Zoro,
reason for Zoro getting it would be wacky.
yeah, but Zoro would feel off with it. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
would just
it
feel
wouldn't be
off to have
right.
Zoro with it.
And then,
Yeah.
if anything, I feel like it'd be just a gag for Zoro to just wander across the world being silly.
Yeah, literally, it's just being disgustingly broken. I definitely see it like being some sacrificial type of action, right? Where it's like maybe Luffy's like close to death or some shit, or like he needs it, and Law performs the surgery and ends up dying. Which
Maybe that's what Blackbeard's after. Maybe he wants this dude to give him eternal youth, which would save his life.
maybe, maybe, but then again, the fact that Blackbeard has multiple double fruits makes you wonder if he can utilize that aspect of the OP without actually dying, because we don't know like the actual psychology
No, 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 no,
or
no, no,
rather
no. I don't
the
mean
amount of it.
I don't mean like Blackbeard taking the fruit. Like he's gonna make use Law's life to give him eternal youth.
But I don't think he can force Law to do it. You know what I mean? Like
I feel no. I see what you're saying. It's just like that
I
might be
think
his plan. Like he might have some crazy shit planned like that. He's just like, this guy's gonna give me his
the,
life.
the mystery of Blackbeard right now is very exciting. Dude, obviously we know he's definitely collecting all these devil fruits. He's trying to like become as strong as possible. So like when the war does happen, he's ready. But I feel like there's so many mystery, like the fact that he has those devil's fruits, his origin, the fact he doesn't fucking sleep.
The fact that his legs are made of sticks. What?
Okay, no, I mean yeah, you know, oh, come on now, but no, the fact that this dude doesn't
He
sleep,
doesn't sleep.
like, no, he doesn't sleep. That was confirmed. I'm pretty sure. Look up Blackbeard not sleeping. Homie does not sleep. Like in the flashback where the Odin flashback, of course.
Some in the bar, people Snow Country don't sleep, they will die. It reminds me of how Blackbeard will never sleep, just like how Buggy mentioned. Oh, Buggy. Oh, I mean, if
Yeah,
Buggy said it,
Buggy,
Buggy knows what's
Buggy
up.
mentioned it. Buggy mentioned it in Odin flashback when the Whitebeard pirates and the Roger pirates were having their like 8-day battle. He pointed out to Shanks how Blackbeard didn't fucking even wink, not a wink of sleep the whole time. So you know what I'm saying, you could take it with a grain of salt, but I mean that is the Emperor of the Sea,
No, yeah, I
Buggy
mean, I trust
D.
whatever Buggy D says.
You know what I'm saying, Buggy D Clown. Give him some credit now.
Buggy D Clown, owner of the Guild Cross.
Also, we don't know his relationship with Rocks either, which I mean, at this point, feels like basically guaranteed that he has some sort of.
Something.
So, yeah. So there's that as well.
People swear that Rox is like somehow in the fruit, and I'm like, what?
Um. Well, what you know? What that's not a horrendous theory. Okay, I'm not saying he'll do like some Black Zetsu
No, no,
bullshit,
go on, go on, go off.
but consider what Vegapunk said, right? Talking about how like the fruits, like the essence of like certain emotions can go into the fruit itself and then actually make like a devil fruit. Like how he was talking about it, it was kind of
It was
complex
the
the way he
desire
explained it.
what he asked for. So like, what
Yeah,
people desired was like what the devil fruits became. So like, some people wanted to be like a cheetah or something, or as fast as a gazelle or some shit like that.
but consider something like maybe the yami yami. We don't know what the fuck was going on with rocks, right? Maybe like what was implanted onto that fruit itself, since it's like the dark, I mean it's called a darkness, right? But like just like the actual evil of it itself, like once it actually got into Blackbeard and like it actually connected, because I feel like devil fruits, if they're with certain people, they're way more powerful and bolstered way more by whatever emotion they're feeling, as long as it kind of has the theme of that devil fruit. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like with him and maybe potentially even Rocks prior to him, we don't know if he had the Yami. So like maybe if Rock implanted like those fucking type of feelings that like his soul into it, maybe in that sense he's a part of the fruit. But I don't see him like taking over Blackbeard's body or something crazy like.
I hope not. If anything, I'll be fine with it just being like, oh yeah, no, because Blackbeard ate this. He ate like all the like darkness or intentions that this guy, Rocksteady Zevik guy had, right? But he's still Blackbeard. But if they do a whole personality erase, Rocksteady Zevik, like
I
that's
hate
just
that.
weird.
I hate when that happens in anime and just like in shows in general because it takes away. Think about like all the setup all that we've had from Blackbeard, right? All the setup we've had from Blackbeard from the very beginning of the series. Well, when he was introduced anyway, from the time he was introduced up until this point, right? And just like all the things he's done, the character we've met, just for somebody to tell us it's like, yeah, now this is a new guy now. It's like, well, what the fuck was the point of all that buildup, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I feel like it's lazy writing if that were to happen, but I trust Oda enough to make it make sense, you know. So I doubt that'll end
I
up
mean, I
happening.
hope he hasn't been failing.
Nah, Oda's been fucking writing heat lately, bro.
Oda's
Straight
been
up.
writing Heat, like separating filler book. Oda's been writing Heat since forever.
Come on, your
I
hatred towards
I can't.
Thriller
I
Bark
don't
is
know. I just call it filler bark because everybody calls it filler bark. But
Thriller
that's
Bark.
that's where we got Brooke, so we're chilling.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, I'm very excited for what's to come in the One Piece story. We're finding out a bunch of really cool stuff. But yeah, I feel like this was a great episode. Overall, let's end it here.
Ended up on the Zehahaha.
Zeha ha ha.
Pues don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow the Twitch channel, and all that goodness. Ciao.
Ciao.